BuzzFeed compiled a list of 19 giant lies sold to entire generations, and the comments have added dozens of smaller ones that sting just about as much. New Orleans has been using AI to answer some 911 calls since 2023, and a new 8-year study finds that people under 80 who regularly consume artificial sweeteners showed cognitive decline 62% faster than those who consumed the least. While everyone was busy arguing about politics, a bunch of other things happened. We can't all talk about the same things. I'm Keith Conrad, and this is New Sidequest. BuzzFeed published a piece this week compiling what they call the 19 giant lies sold to entire generations. Beliefs passed down through parents, schools, cultural institutions that turned out to just be wrong, or at least significantly more complicated than advertised. The big ones are familiar. Get a degree and you'll be set for life. Work hard and you'll get ahead. Owning a home is just a few years of savings away. The big lies are well documented, and it's the smaller ones that I want to talk about. And I want to spend more time on mine specifically because I think they reveal something true about how you were taught to understand the world. The quicksand one was the one that stuck with me for decades. If you grew up watching television and movies in the 80s and 90s, you were led to believe that quicksand was one of the major hazards of adult life. It showed up constantly. Characters sank into it regularly. You're supposed to move slowly, not panic, and just grab a vine that would no doubt be nearby. I spent a meaningful portion of my childhood mentally preparing for quicksand. I've never encountered quicksand. Nobody I knew has ever encountered quicksand. The actuarial risk of quicksand, it turns out, is approximately 0. The permanent record is the other one that lands differently as an adult. For years, teachers invoked the permanent record as the ultimate deterrent. This would follow you forever. Colleges would see it. Employers would see it. Future generations would see it. I've got news for you. There is no such record. There never was. It was a behavioral management tool dressed up as an institutional reality, and it worked on most people probably pretty well. The BuzzFeed list covers the classics. You'll use algebra every day. Firm handshake is everything. You can be anything you want to be. Each one has a kernel of truth that got inflated into a promise that didn't scale. And the comments underneath the piece are full of people adding their own. Ones about nutrition are particularly rich. For decades, fat was the enemy, and then it wasn't. Then eggs were dangerous, and then they were fine. Then coffee was bad, and now it's healthy, up to 5 cups a day. These small lies of nutritional advice form their own category of betrayal. So what's the small lie you were told growing up that still annoys you? Not the big economic promises, the specific thing that turned out to not be true that you'd spent real mental energy preparing for.
Don't be dumb! I hate a dumb guy!
The New Orleans Parish Communication District in New Orleans has confirmed that AI has been answering some 911 calls since 2023. That confirmation came after a viral social media post from an account called More Perfect Union that received over 32,000 views raised the alarm, and city officials had to publicly clarify what was actually going on. Here's what the AI is actually doing. It only comes into play when all human call takers are busy and someone calls 911 from within about 200 meters of a crash that has already been reported. In that specific scenario, the AI asks whether the caller is reporting that same incident. If yes, it provides updates. If no, it immediately transfers to a human dispatcher. Officials say the technology is not used for other types of 911 calls and has safeguards to make sure callers are connected with a person when needed. The reason this system exists is specific and actually pretty defensible. The executive director of the Orleans Parish Communication District described the problem, said, quote, "If somebody calls about a relative having a heart attack when that call is coming in, we don't know what it is. Calls get answered in the order they're received. During rush hour accidents, hundreds of people call 911 about the same incident, clogging the queue and delaying responses to genuinely different emergencies behind them. The AI handles the redundant calls so human dispatchers can reach the heart attack. I still have to say that using AI on 911 calls doesn't seem like a great idea. In some cases, it ends up adding a layer between a person in crisis and getting help. The system, however, as described, is more defensible than the headline would suggest. It's not replacing human dispatchers on new emergencies. It's absorbing redundant and duplicate calls about already known incidents so that human dispatchers can get on to new emergencies faster. The legitimate concern is a little different. New Orleans had publicly confirmed that it has used this AI system since 2023, with callers never actually notified about it. No federal law requires disclosure of AI in emergency dispatch. The system has been operating for 3 years in one of the country's busiest 911 centers without any public announcement, and it took a viral social media post to force the clarification. The governance vacuum, nobody has specifically regulated AI use in emergency dispatch, is where the real accountability question lives, not whether AI should ever be involved in call management. So where's your personal line on AI making consequential decisions? Does the specific context of emergency dispatch handle the way New Orleans is actually doing it cross that line for you? If there was a mistake and I ended up getting my call rejected because AI thought that it was one of the previous emergencies, I'd be pretty angry, and that's probably where there will be a lawsuit one day if that ever actually happens.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop. Ever.
A study published in the journal Neurology, one of the most prestigious peer-reviewed publications in clinical neurology, tracked nearly 13,000 adults in Brazil over 8 years, measuring their consumption of low and no-calorie sweeteners and administering regular cognitive assessments. People younger than 60 who consumed the artificial sweeteners regularly showed a faster decline in verbal fluency and global cognition. The highest consumption level groups showed a cognitive decline 62% faster than that of the lowest group. The sweeteners studied include aspartame, the primary sweetener in Diet Coke, along with saccharin and other artificial sweeteners. 6 of the 7 sweeteners showed a link to cognitive decline, with tagatose being the one that did not. However, those over 60 did not show an association between the artificial sweeteners and cognitive decline. The researchers don't have a clean explanation for why the effect disappears after 60. Some have suggested it might involve differences in how the aging brain metabolizes these compounds, or that other age-related factors. This is an observational study. It shows correlation between artificial sweetener consumption and faster cognitive decline, not proof of causation. People who drink a lot of diet soda may differ from people who don't in ways the study couldn't fully account for. The study, conducted in Brazil, where dietary patterns and sweetener use differ from places like the US, and the mechanism by which artificial sweeteners might cause cognitive decline is not actually established. It's speculated, not confirmed. What this study is a reasonably large, reasonably long-term signal from a respected journal that warrants taking seriously. What it isn't is proof that Diet Coke causes brain damage. Still, I might have to rethink my daily drinking habits. I think the honest answer to the "how often does health news like this make you actually change something" question is rarely, unless it's personal, and for me at least, this one is personal. So how often does a study like this, one that implicates something you already do, actually make you rethink your habits, and has it ever?
Well, that's a bit of a problem.
90,000 rubber ducks were poured in the Chicago River as part of a charity event raising money for the Special Olympics in Illinois. This is not the worst thing that has been dumped into the Chicago River. The Dave Matthews Band incident of 2004 remains in a category all its own.
That is one big pile of shit.
A man was arrested after filling a hotel bathtub with potatoes during a 5-day MDMA binge. There's a lot you can do with potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew, but filling a bathtub is a new application. The hotel's reaction was not reported in detail, but I think you can probably guess.
Few good taters. What's taters, precious? What's taters, huh?
Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
A locust swarm of apocalyptic proportions filled the skies above Russia's Dagestan region, with footage showing near total darkness from the density of the insects. Things have taken a turn for the biblical in Russia, not to mention the leprosy cases climbing in Florida.
There was an earthquake, a terrible flood, locust. It wasn't my fault, I swear to God!
A bar in Brighton, England has banned customers from wearing Meta smart glasses that can film other people without their knowledge or consent. We're going to see more of this, at least until the devices are pervasive enough that everyone just assumes they're being recorded all the time. That moment may arrive sooner than most people think.
Yipes.
That's it for News Sidequest. 3 questions to open your week. The small lie you were told growing up that still specifically annoys you. Whether New Orleans' actual use of AI on 911 crosses your personal line. And how often health news like the Diet Coke study actually makes you change something you already do. Email me at newsidequest@gmail.com or pay a visit to the Substack comments. See you tomorrow.